And will you call the roll, please?
Yes, I can. President Masterson. Senator Blasey.
Here.
Senator Sykes.
Here.
Senator Billinger.
Present.
Speaker Hawkins.
Here.
Representative Croft.
Here.
Representative Woodard. Representative Waymaster.
Here.
Governor Kelly.
I'm here.
All right.
Masterson not here.
I
Okay.
just got on. I'm on.
Okay. Senator Masterson is on. Okay, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the May 13th meeting.
So moved, Speaker Hawkins.
Okay, we've got a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Senator
I'll
Sykes.
second.
Second from Senator Sykes. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Minutes are passed. Okay, the first item on the agenda today is the request of the Director of the Budget to approve distribution of funds to implement the fiscal year 26 pay plan for selected state employees. Director of Profit, please proceed.
Thank you, Governor. Good morning, Governor and members of the council. As stated, we are requesting approval of a pay plan, the distribution of the funds that we calculated for each agency, along with the increase in expenditure limitation for the special revenue funds. My team has gone through, both my teams, my budget team and my OPS team have gone through and calculated based on the most recent HR data by person, by agency, what the needs would be to effectuate the pay plan. As you know, the monies were appropriated to the State Finance Council, so action is required to move the monies from the State Finance Council to the impacted agencies. If you go to page 11, or excuse me, page 10 of the PDF that was emailed out, that shows you by agency from pages 10 through 21, by agency, by fund, how much is required to effectuate the pay plan that the legislature approved this past year. At the risk of, I don't think I'll go through all 11 pages. I think that the information is there, but again, it's calculated based on the most recent HR data. The pay plans, the new pay plans will become effective with the pay period that begins this Sunday, June 8th. And the first pay date will be July 3rd, which is the first pay period of fiscal year 26. The legislature did appropriate $40 million of SGF. Happy to report that the amount needed of SGF is coming in at $36.2 million. So there will be a little bit of money that will go back during the next budget cycle to the state general fund. You can see the other amounts that are listed again on pages 10 through 21. So, Governor, with that, I would stand for any questions if there are any.
Any questions for Adam? All right, hearing none, I need a motion to approve.
So moved, Speaker Hawkins.
We've got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I've got a second from President Masterson. Jay Anderson, would you please call the roll?
President Masterson.
Aye.
Senator Blasey.
Aye.
Senator Sykes.
Aye.
Senator Billinger.
Aye.
Speaker Hawkins.
Aye.
Representative Croft.
Aye.
Representative Waymaster.
Aye.
Governor Kelly.
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Governor, if I may, sorry to interrupt, Representative Woodard has joined, so if we could allow him a chance to vote, please.
Thank you.
Representative Woodard.
Aye.
Okay. So I think the vote's unanimous.
Correct.
All right, then let's move on to the next item is the request of the State Fire Marshal to approve expenditures from the Emergency Response Fund. Mark Engholm, the State Fire Marshal, will provide a brief overview and answer any questions that you might have. Mark, please proceed.
Morning. In March of this year in Labette County, we had a tragic incident in which a farmer who'd worked in that area for many years took his tractor and hay bale trailer across a low water crossing. And unfortunately, complacency is one of those things we see. His tractor and the trailer were swept off the low water crossing, and we lost him, right? So it was a very difficult search because of the water levels and the area to try to recover him for his family, locate him. We had to bring in some assets from the state of Oklahoma to help us, specifically cadaver-seeking dogs, because we did not have enough available in state. And we're just asking for the ability to reimburse those emergency response agencies that we called to assist with that search. Unfortunately, regardless, we were not able to locate him, and he has not been located to this time. What our responders did down there, very proud of them. They worked under very difficult conditions and did everything they could to try to help that family, find some peace in that. And I'm sorry that we weren't able to be successful in that.
How much are you requesting?
So we're requesting up to $60,000, but as of yesterday, speaking to our fiscal staff, we were looking at about $30,000 so far, and we're waiting on 2 more agencies to provide their reimbursement requests.
Okay, any questions for the fire marshal?
I have one. Is the so it's up to 60? Do you have an estimate of what the other 2 that you've not received invoices from will be?
We believe it's going to be probably in the area of 36 to 38,000 total, but we had initially done the $60,000 request, but I believe it'll be in the area of 38, somewhere in there.
Thank you.
So Mark, is that 38 total, including the request you've already received?
We believe, yes. We have requests in hand for about 30,000, but with those 2 agencies, one of them being a career department in Kansas City, they tend to be a little bit more expensive. We believe it'll be right around in that $38,000 range when we're done.
Any other questions, Mark?
Yes, Governor, the speaker.
Go ahead.
So instead of 60,000, why don't we give like 40 or 45?
Mark, would that be a problem?
No, that would not be a problem whatsoever. When these incidents happen and we just have to come up with an estimate, our best guess, and not wanting to be low either. So be happy to have a lesser amount, and 40 to 45, we would be fine.
Governor, I would make a motion that we allow 45 for this incident.
Is there a second?
Second, Senator Sykes.
Okay.
I would amend the
Um,
motion, Governor, to say up to the 45, reimburse the invoices up to, but not to exceed 45.
I would agree
Sounds
with
like-
that.
So I was going to say, it sounds like a friendly amendment. We'll take it. Okay, so we've got a motion then and a second to approve up to $45,000 for this emergency. Jay Anderson, could you call the roll, please?
Sorry, my bad. President Masterson,
Aye.
Senator Blasey,
Aye.
Senator Sykes,
Aye.
Senator Billinger,
Aye.
Speaker Hawkins,
Aye.
Representative Croft,
Aye.
Representative Woodard,
What you're talking about?
Aye.
What?
Representative Waymaster, Governor Kelly,
Aye.
The resolution passes unanimously.
You just said that. Okay. So we've got that done. Let's move on to the final item on the agenda. Is the request of the Department of Health and Environment to release funds for the KEIMS database. Kate Gleason with the Department of Health and Environment is on the line and will provide us with a brief overview and answer any questions that you might have. Kate, could you please proceed?
Good morning, Governor and members of the council. Can you hear me?
We can hear you and see you.
Great. I'm Kate Gleason. I am the Deputy Director of Environment here at KDHE. We were asked by the legislature in Senate Bill 125 to provide a report to this council on we call it KEIMS, the KEIMS software program. I have some slides, although I'm not super familiar with WebEx, so I was hoping to share those, but you also have them in your packet. Let me see if I can open this up. I'm actually just going to scroll through the PDF so that I don't have any trouble with PowerPoint today, if that's all right.
It's up.
Okay, so KEIMS is the Kansas Environmental Information Management System. It was rolled out several years ago for use across the Division of Environment, which does water, air, remediation, and waste programs here at KDHE. It was developed by Windsor Solutions, a contractor that developed the software, and it's used by several states. It has varied abilities and functions for each of our programs. They must, accomplish different tasks and interface with different federal and other software programs. For most programs, the first task we did with KEIMS was a digitization of agency records. This was a huge lift as each program had 30 plus years of records and rooms of paper files. The next tasks we moved to were permitting, reporting, and other functions that allowed e-filing and things like that through our KEIMS software for the regulated community. KEIMS also has a public-facing capability that allows members, citizens to access certain records about folks who are regulated by us. So that's one other thing it has. And you can see the list of programs it supports here. It moves across almost all of our programs. And feel free to stop me if anyone has any questions, but I'm just going to roll through these so that we don't spend more time than we need to on it. The next slide is a little bit about why we're here. SB 125 authorized an enhancement for KEIMS of $425,000. These would fund improvements to KEIMS one is going to be run through our Bureau of Waste Management to integrate KEIMS into Perceptive Content, which is our long-term historian software. That would benefit all of our programs. The other portion of the money would go to integrating KEIMS or allow KEIMS to interface more efficiently with ECHO, which is EPA's sort of equivalent system. This would obviously benefit our programs and the regulated community. So those are two things we're asking for. And because of some issues with KEIMS, we were asked to come and give this presentation before that money got unlocked by this body. So the presentation is on our storage tanks program specifically of KEIMS. Our storage tanks program regulates petroleum storage tanks. So this is gas stations, other types of facilities that have petroleum tanks, preventing leaks and addressing leaks that have occurred, permitting inspections, other regulatory actions that I think are fairly standard for an environmental program. You can see here a list of documents and records that now flow through KEIMS for owner-operators. Our storage tank program in 2020, as this says, was subject to new federal standards from EPA. These new standards required us to do a great deal of outreach and communication with the regulatory community, provide technical assistance to owner-operators dealing with these changes. I mentioned this because you'll see now in the next slide about where we started with KEIMS. It was rolled out also in late 2020 for above-ground storage tanks in fall of 2020 and underground in 2021. So there is an overlap of some of the issues. But we integrated it internally first and then externally through that year as we were also rolling out some new federal regulations. So we developed as much assistance as we could, webinars, tutorials for external folks on how to use Keams. Then we get to the ongoing issues. You can see here some numbers of bugs that we have been addressing. These bugs can range from minor cosmetic changes to larger usability changes. We are triaging these bugs and making the most impactful fixes in a prioritization. So the large fixes may take weeks or months. That can cause some smaller bugs to linger longer. We are pushing as diligently as we can to work through these bugs. And then the next slide talks about some of our external communication. We have worked from last fall. We started realizing we needed to improve some communication with the external stakeholders on the storage tank Keams program. So we developed a working group for storage tanks. It has our staff, it has our IT folks, it has representatives from Fuel True, the industry group. We have other members of the regulated community. So they get together once a month. That has opened the lines of communication for folks to talk about problems they have with Keams and let us know if there's anything additional they've identified, and for us to provide them updates on things we're prioritizing and getting fixed. I think by now you probably could write these goals yourself, but here are our goals for Keams. They, just to emphasize them, we want to keep these open lines of communication with the regulated community. We want to drive these bugs to complete fixes. Our overall goal, of course, is to have the best possible program for our staff and for the tank owner operators to be using. So that is all I had today, and I would stand for questions.
Any questions?
Let me stop.
All right, I don't hear any, so I need a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved, Speaker Hawkins.
Speaker Hawkins moves. Second.
I'll second
I'll
it.
second
Representative.
Was that you, Senator Chase Blasey?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We had a second from Senator Blasey. Jay Anderson, could you please call the roll?
President Masterson,
Aye.
Senator Blasey,
Aye.
Senator Sykes,
Aye.
Senator Billinger,
Aye.
Speaker Hawkins,
Aye.
Representative Croft,
Aye.
Representative Woodard,
Aye.
Representative Waymaster,
Aye.
Governor Kelly.
Aye.
It is unanimous.
Okay, that's all we've got on the agenda today. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Speaker Hawkins.
Couldn't get that out fast enough, could you, Mr. Speaker? Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Senator Sykes.
Senator Sykes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.